Hi, I'm Sarah Minovsky, and this video forms part of the Song Method, a research initiative exploring songwriting methodologies, collaborative songwriting environments, and songwriter development. So today I'm joined by Agapi Melkonian, who is a publishing A&R at Talliard Music. So before we begin the interview, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself and just let us know a little bit about your background.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'm an A&R at Talliard Music. I work mostly across publishing. I work a lot across our K-pop stuff or anything across international markets, which includes setting up sessions, pitching, setting up writing camps. I have very good relationships across different labels, A&Rs, especially in Korea. I got to travel to Korea a few times and got to meet their culture also, which is very interesting. Basically, managing an amazing roster of writers, top liners, and producers at Talliard Music.
Wonderful. And that's how I've been introduced to you through Stephen Manovsky. He was signed to Talliard for many years. Okay, so my first question to you is from your perspective, do songwriting camps generally generate more cuts and opportunities for writers than traditional writing sessions?
In my experience, I would say so, yes. Especially, we try to do a lot of writing camps in collaboration with certain labels,
Yeah.
certain artists, A&Rs, which kind of directly includes them in the process of putting together the sessions, and it kind of makes them pay more attention to the songs as a result
Yeah,
because they
definitely.
are invested. Sometimes they're investing like monetarily, sometimes they just investing their time,
Yeah.
and that definitely pays off. So we try to make them more involved, and hence we got great results off the camps more than if it was just from pitching.
And you probably have recognized that songwriting camps work a lot off brief as well, which is probably contributing to songs that are a bit more relevant.
Exactly. Yeah. We provide briefs. The way we do it, we usually have briefings in the mornings, whether it's from the A&Rs, whether we've been sent something before, and we just go through that with the writers. We try to give feedback in the sessions. So,
Yeah.
in the middle of the day, the A&Rs come in, have a listen if the writers are open to it, and give their feedback. Maybe there's something to avoid, maybe there's something to lean into. So I feel like for both sides, it's very helpful to just have that direct involvement from all sides.
Absolutely, yeah. I, from a songwriter's perspective, definitely agree that getting that feedback is really beneficial to the outcome of
Yeah,
the song.
definitely.
Um, so the next question I have is there a noticeable difference between songwriters participating in songwriting camps in territories such as Korea, Sweden, or the US compared to writing in the UK?
That's a good question. I'm not sure there is much of a difference because in my experience, in the now 3 years that I've been working at Talliard Music, the camps are so collaborative.
Definitely. Yeah.
I did a camp in collaboration with a Norwegian publisher, a company like us, last month in Oslo. So we flew out some of our top liners and writers to work with their writers and producers. And I don't feel like there was any big difference in the way they were hosting or in the way the sessions were set up. It was quite similar. And it
That's
was actually quite good for the writers because you get to work with new people, get
good.
new ideas. Everyone was doing amazing. Like we get great results from these collaborative camps. Maybe in Korea it would be different just from the way they do sessions in general, the way their market works in general. I would say, for example, one of the differences with them is that they need to have the songs finished on the day. Like
Mm.
everything is so quick, everything has to be done no matter how many hours. Like they just work and work.
Mm.
Um, and maybe just cultural differences, they might be less chatty in the sessions and more like focused on the
Focus.
song. And yeah, not much of a difference with across Europe and the UK.
Okay. And just as a side question on that, actually,
Mhm.
have you noticed any differences with the K-pop camps in terms of more structured settings to the day? Like they might give a bit more ideas, like maybe songwriting methodologies to work from, lyrical inspirations, that kind of a thing?
I feel like everything that goes into the briefs would be general for K-pop writing.
Mm.
So they might be telling you more about things to avoid, or the
Yeah.
structure of the song might be more strict. But that's kind of the case with any K-pop
Yeah.
song. So maybe for the writers that haven't done much K-pop before, that would be very helpful, and they would explain like the whole structure. You have to have like a rap verse or a dance break or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in general, it would be quite similar. It's just the
Okay.
structure.
Interesting. And I think you kind of briefly touched upon this. So the next question is, do camps involving direct artist interactions tend to produce stronger creative outcomes than remote brief-based camps?
Yes. Especially depends on the artist, obviously. But
Mm.
for example, we've had camps with DJs being directly involved, and they're always super helpful because they know exactly what they're looking for. They know exactly like the direct feedback from them in the sessions is great.
Mm.
With artists, like we've had a boy band once in the sessions, they were also super helpful, and they kind of vocaled some of the things. They were very active in the sessions, but in
Mm.
the at the end of the day, they don't decide much because it's all up to the A&Rs. So
Totally. Yeah.
it depends on what kind of artist. But yeah, definitely involving the artist is always very good.
Okay.
Also keeps the writers more motivated.
And do you think that there are any aspects of current songwriting camp models that you feel could be improved, such as more coaching or workshopping of ideas for songwriters? Like, for example, if the artist wasn't involved, because obviously that's an advantage, having the artist involved and having the feedback. But if there's any kind of ideas to kickstart the songwriting creative flow, do you think that could work in the songwriting model?
um I feel like giving feedback about the artist and the artist's background, whether it's from anyone who represents them,
Hmm.
anyone who knows them personally, or writers doing research on the artist,
Hmm.
is very helpful because
Yeah.
you never know what an artist's beliefs are, or maybe there are some topics that are closer to them or things they would like to avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
It's always good to know, or like even simple things as looking at their catalog, what they already have released.
Hmm.
Maybe you don't want to repeat something they've already done.
Yeah. So
So
doing
it's
songwriter research.
always, so I would say research, but obviously you cannot assume that all the writers on the camp have done their research. So
Yeah.
maybe as the hosts of the camp, it's better to give like an introduction to the artist as
Hmm.
well.
So my question was more regarding songwriting methodologies and like idea generation techniques, such as like lyrical um, ideas or hook first methodologies, like getting artists, getting songwriters to explore different creative tools to get them to maybe write in a different way. Do you think that could work in a songwriting camp model by having like micro workshoppings at the start of the day? And that's not just about the artist background, but more about getting their creative juices flowing.
Yes, I would say it's hard because as an A&R, I obviously don't ever want to like impose anything upon the
Yeah.
writers. I want to give them the freedom to generate their ideas and come up with something.
Mm.
I always say, like, please try to come up with concepts, especially when it comes to like pop, or because nowadays everything around marketing, around promoting the song goes around the concept of the song, because then it's about the social media, about the visuals, about all of that. So I always try to push for the concept idea.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
So do
because
you
as
think?
a
Sorry.
Yeah, go ask,
Well, I was going to
please.
say, do you think independently then, if you think about other careers, there's been a lot of coaching involved or, career development, study in order to how to progress further in the career. And maybe it could be beneficial to songwriters moving forward to explore these ideas independently to get them to maybe not necessarily be a better songwriter but be more intuitive with their songwriting and not have as much writer's block. Do you think that could be beneficial to songwriters or the industry?
Definitely. It can only help. I cannot imagine if it would do any harm.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
always helpful. It's obviously always helpful to just be in the know, like know
Mm,
what's going on even in the market in general. What
yeah.
is in the charts right now? What is trending? What is the I don't know, current trend of the releases across the board.
Mm,
So for example, again, if I give you how K-pop works, if there is like one trend that is going viral, for example, it can be a bit of house music in the
mm,
mix. You get briefs in the next month about house music,
yeah,
but it's still pop house music.
of course. Yeah.
Or they are going to reference whoever is in the top charts now in the US. So if it was Sabrina Carpenter, they wanted Sabrina songs.
Yeah.
It's if it's Chappell Roan, it's her song. So it's
Mm.
just being in the know what is in trend, really.
Yeah. I mean, the songwriting research that I'm trying to explore is whether songwriters would benefit of, doing exactly what you just said, of doing the research in the current market trends, but also uh, idea generation techniques that they might not have ever heard of before that might actually spark their creative outputs. So yeah, I think that's interesting that you're saying that that could be beneficial, but from my own experience as a songwriter, I've never seen that before. That in a professional setting, we're
Mm,
encouraged to get training. Like as a
yeah.
singer, you get a vocal coach, but songwriters, there's no real formal coaching that's involved. So it's interesting for me, especially talking to you, to see maybe that could actually be something that could benefit songwriters in the future of encouraging more career progression with their creative skills, getting more
Um,
tools.
I believe so because at the end of the day, like I we manage songwriters, right? And we see them going, they have sessions every week, all the time. And I cannot even understand. For me, it's impossible to understand how are they doing it? How do you come up with
Mm,
so many ideas
yeah.
all of the time? So if there are again, if there are any techniques that would help them, I think that would be very beneficial.
Okay, brilliant. Well, that was all of my questions, and that was fantastic. It's
Fabulous.
really informative. I really appreciate your time.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna. So that was extremely interesting talking to Agapi just then. And from her perspective, coming from a publishing background, she thinks that there would be benefits for songwriters having more coaching and workshopping, definitely being introduced to more tools such as object writing, free writing, hook first methodologies. She mentioned that a lot of her songwriters work from briefs or they do research based on the artists that they're writing for. But a lot of songwriters still are unaware of a lot of these idea generation techniques that definitely could be beneficial for them. And from a publisher's perspective, she thinks that it could only benefit the songwriting industry. So, yeah, that was a great takeaway that I had from that interview. And I'm really excited about the next interview. Thanks for listening.